Welcome to Youth Awake. Good evening to you and welcome to Youth Awake.
Are you sure you're praising God in your homes? Hey! If the Lord has been good to you, join me in prayer. He reigns, oh, he reigns.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight is Youth Awake live with the youth. Namor, thank you for joining us. Wilfred, thank you for joining us as well. Don't forget we are live on Facebook at Adinkra Radio NY. You can also join us live on YouTube at Adinkra TV. That's ADINKRA TV. Share the page, invite someone to join us live. This Youth Awake, and tonight we have a very special guest in the studio. Special guests, actually.
Say, what shall I say unto the Lord? All I have to say is thank you, Lord. What shall I say unto the Lord? All I have to say is thank you, Papa. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I thank you, Lord. All I have to say is thank you, Papa. Thank you, Papa. Hey! All I have to say is yeah. What shall I say unto the Lord? All I have to say is thank you. On the phone, what shall I say unto the Lord? All I have to say is thank you, Papa. Thank you, Papa. Thank you, Papa. Yeah. All I have to say is I say the Lord is good. I will lift His name higher. Everywhere I go, I will lift His name higher. Adonai is good. Adonai is good. I will lift your name higher. Hey, whoa. The Lord is good. I will lift His name higher. Sell it. Everywhere I go, I will lift His name higher. Adonai, you are good.
Once again, welcome to Youth Awake. Auntie Candice, thank you for joining us as well.
God is good.
In the next 1 minute, I'm going to introduce our guests for tonight.
Lift his name.
Share the page, like the page, let somebody know that Youth Awake we are live. We are live on Facebook and as well as YouTube.
Come on, lift him higher. 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 The Lord is good. I will lift his name higher. Everywhere I go, I will lift his name higher. Oh, the Lord is good. I will lift his name. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us once again. We are going live now. Our guests are ready. They're in the studios with us.
The Lord
And I believe that tonight is going to be a wonderful night. I have three ladies and a gentleman in the studio with me.
will lift his name higher. Oh, the Lord is good. I will lift his name higher. Everywhere I go.
And I'm going to let them introduce themselves as we start tonight's show. So if you're ready with me, let's go.
And the salt of the earth, I carry the flavor of God that seasons the earth. I'm the salt of the earth, salt of the earth. I carry the flavor of God that seasons the earth. Hey, I'm the
All right, my guests for tonight are already in the studio. And I'm going to start from my left. Where should I start from? From the right? From the left. Okay. So I'll be starting from the left. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves to us. So on my left is, let us know your name and then a little about yourself.
My name is Eliana. I go to Solid Rock Sanctuary. I am about to be a junior in high school. I am 15 years old, and yeah.
Okay, great. And on next, the only gentleman we have tonight in the studio.
My name is Eugene Owaga. I attend Solid Rock Sanctuary in Yonkers. I'm going to be a senior in high school, and I'm 16 years old.
Okay, and then the next lady.
Hi. Okay. Hi, my name's Carol, and I'm 21. I'm a college student, and my favorite color is blue.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Paula. I'm 21. I'm a college student. And hi.
Cool. All right. So welcome, all of you guys. Thank you, and welcome to our studios. This is Youth Awake. Here we talk about the youth. We talk about things that bother us, things that we argue, we fight, we bring our ideas together,
I
bring our
can
minds
do that.
together. Yeah, we bring our minds together. So you have been here before, right? On my left, Eliana, you've been here before.
Yeah.
And then, so this is not your first time. This is your second time. So you're like a pro. And then for the rest of my colleagues, this is going to be your first times. Welcome to the three of you. And this is Youth Awake. Welcome. First of all, let's start. How has it been with you guys? College is off. High school is off as well, right?
Yeah.
So far, how's it been going? Are you having fun at home? Are you enjoying yourselves? How's it going? Anyone can start.
I'm still in school. I don't know about that.
You still in school?
Yeah.
How does that work? I thought everybody's.
Online.
Oh, you're doing online schooling.
Yeah.
How's that
and I
going?
go
You have
by
to
quarters.
speak up a little bit for me.
I go by quarters, so I just do all my work at home, online, as much as I can.
All right. You have to speak up a little more. Okay.
I just do all my work at home.
Okay.
Online, off my phone, using
Right.
the Wi-Fi from my phone and stuff like that.
Okay. So you're still a little busy as compared to the others. All right. Anybody else?
I'm not, like, school might be off, but the work is still there. My senior year is coming up, so I have to think about college applications. And so that's something that is on my mind a lot this summer. I have to think about a college essay, what college I want to apply to, all of that. So I'm not really free this summer.
All right. So it's still going. You want to say something? Any of the other ones?
Well, same for me. Like school, like maybe out and stuff. Like we still have a lot of work to like summer work, and then like we have to get ready for like the year that's coming. Cause like most of us don't know whether like we're gonna be in school or like online or like do both. So it's still kind of like challenging, I guess, but it's a little easier since like the actual school is like out and stuff.
All right, so the big question: being in school, as in like going to school daily, and then being at home because what is that coronavirus thing? Which one do you prefer?
Going to school daily.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Because, like, part of the fun in going to school is you get to just see your friends every day and, like, do stuff after school and stuff like that. And also, like, just, like, I learn better when I'm in person. So, I don't know, that's just me.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I'm like hands-on learner, you know. So like it's kind of hard for me to like do it at home, like by myself without anybody there with me, cause I feel like if I'm doing it alone, then I'm doing it wrong or something like that. I don't have anyone like with me physically there to help me, and like when for some people like myself, when you're at home, you start to like get lazy, cause like there's no one there like on you pushing you about doing your work. You're just like free to do your work at any time, anywhere. Like you sleep all day and stuff like that. So like it's better to like physically go to school.
I would say the motivation for me, I lost it after March when we started online classes. I really lost my motivation. The whole class isn't there to motivate you to do it as well. It's like they put the trust in you to finish everything by yourself, at home in your bed. And that's just, I don't know, like you can't tell me to sit in my room and ask me to finish my work when my bed is staring at me, my pillow is looking at me. It was very difficult, and I kind of wish we'd go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like all of you are on the same page with being at home
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But with learning, you spoke about how you don't have the motivation to study your books and stuff like because of I don't know, whatever you're doing at home, your games, your bed and stuff like that. What about having time with family and siblings and all that? You don't think that is a plus?
Sometimes
I
like
was
school is an escape from like family isn't always good.
You guys know your family's watching, right? You guys know your
Yeah.
parents are watching and all and all that. All right, okay, let's hear you.
They're not always good. Like family, yes, they're great, but they can be annoying at times, and sometimes your room isn't enough to stop them from knocking.
Yes.
Your room isn't enough to like being out of the house is harder for them to bother you. And I'm not saying they always bother you, but like it's an escape sometimes. And like when you do want to talk to your friends, like it's not as easy to when I'm in the house, at least for me.
Okay. You guys.
I was by myself. I just moved out when this first started, so
Okay.
I was by myself. So it was the opposite for me. Like, I wanted to be around my family. 'Cause I was
Like,
so
you want to have a choice, right? To be around your family. You don't want to, like, be forced to be around your family.
Right.
So, I mean, they're not bad. I like my family. But I'm just saying, like, it's called family time, like a time reserved for family.
Right.
Like,
And you think the parents and stuff don't understand that?
no.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's so difficult. Like they don't really see things from the way we see things, so like it's harder.
That is something that I want us to talk about as we are going on, and I believe I'll bring it up again. Anytime I talk to the youth, to the young people, they always say, parents don't understand us, my parents don't understand me, they don't understand where I'm coming from. Where are you guys coming from? What angle is it that our parents are not getting that you want them to get? Like, what is it that you think they don't? Because most of the parents have been young before. They've been through your shoes. They've been through the things that you're going through. It might be a different year or a different century, or not century, but a different decade, a different decade or something. But they've been through the same things you're going through. So what is it that our parents are not getting? That it looks like, oh, my parents don't understand me. My parents don't get me. What is the problem?
It's just like parents did things different when they were younger. Like my parents, they come from Ghana and stuff like that. So like they did things very different from the way we do things now. Like in America, in school now, our age. So like if we want to do something, like it's different because they didn't really do the same exact thing when they were children. Like
I think something that like I think about a lot is a big like the disconnect is here. Like they say they did the same things, they went through the same issues, the same problems when we were younger, but they might have tackled it differently. We are learning things from our Ghanaian parents, but we're also learning things from an American school. And Ghanaian parents are not always like an American country. Ghanaian parents are not always like they don't always see eye to eye when it comes to the things of this country. And so like when I bring something to them and they're like, oh, I've had this issue before, they definitely tackled it differently in Ghana. It's like respect your parents, all this. But when I come and I see what kids are doing in America, not saying that it's right, but it's not the same. Not all the kids, not all my friends that I like hang out with, not all of them can be able to respect their parents like I do, like I was taught to by my Ghanaian parents. But in America, that like it's not taught the same. So a lot of the things that are different with my parents, like they want to teach me. I'm also learning something different, being a first generation child in this country. So they clash, and it's like I'm trying to like tell my Ghanaian parents like this is what I'm thinking, even though what you're thinking might not necessarily be wrong. And so like that's a lot of the issue that like I'm sure if I was living in Ghana, a lot of the stuff that I would be thinking about, like I would agree with my parents. I'd be like, yes, I shouldn't go hang out with my friends whenever I want. I shouldn't go to this place. I shouldn't want to. Recently, I wasn't allowed to get a skateboard because my dad thinks it's
The death trap.
yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't see it that way. I think it's a way of transportation, a way to get around. But like that's the thing. In Ghana, I'm sure if I asked for something like that, well, I wouldn't even be asking for anything like that in the beginning. Like I'd be walking to school, but it's just you see the two different sides and they clash.
Right.
It's like I'm first generation here. My parents were born in Ghana their whole life, and that's how they went through it.
Right. So you guys on my other side are Spanish.
Yeah.
Spanish. Yes.
Latina.
Or the Latino Americans. So they mentioned Ghana, which is Africa and Western Africa. Do you guys have the same clash? Is it the same kind of cultural background, or the Latinos are a little different?
I feel like it's kind of similar in the way like Latina moms and like parents in general tend to be really strict, like some African families. But personally, I feel like that was more when I was a teenager that I clashed with my mom, like things like that, like with friends and stuff like that, decisions that, or like just culture clashes. Because it's a different time and America is way, way different than those like third world or like Dominican Republic where I come from. But now that I'm a little bit older, I don't clash as much with my mom because I feel like I'm making wiser choices, whereas when I was 16 maybe she had a point.
Okay. Paula, right?
Well, my clash was more so with the religious aspect of growing up, because in the Dominican Republic they grew up with their beliefs in the church and all that, and I was born in a church, and when I came here I was used to it over there, like no one questioned it, and when I came here everyone was so liberal, so out there, and that's where like as a teenager that's where I wanted to be, and my parents were kind of like pulling back on that, whether it be with something as simple as painting my nails or doing stuff like that. Like it would be an issue, but as a teenager I kind of always fought back to it. But now that I'm on my own and I moved out from my parents' home, I kind of try to understand where they come from, and that there's always like an in-between. Like as you get older you'll be able to do what you need to do.
You guys bring up something interesting. I think somebody spoke about it here, and then you also said about being liberal versus being conservative. Most of our parents are, and you mentioned growing up in the church or being born within the church system. Does the fact that I'm born in church mean I should be conservative, or can I be liberal and still follow the things that I should follow as a believer or as a churchgoer? I see your face. So
I just feel like for the most part, like if you're a Christian, it's not really about being liberal. I feel like a lot of the things that, like, for example, our parents, like, try to teach us about the faith it is kind of conservative, and it's different from what America considers like good and bad, you know. So I think I don't know about painting your nails. I mean, I think, you know, there's some like leeway, I guess, but in certain aspects, but for the most part, like I think our religion is a little bit conservative.
Any other thoughts?
I think, yeah, I agree. I think that in my head, I'm always like, there's a lot of things you can do that you, like, I feel like I can do without, like, necessarily compromising my faith in any way. But I see some other people, like, I have a friend who's SDA, Seventh-day Adventist, and her mother will not let her, she's in college, her mother will not let her paint her nails any color, not let her do her nails, and I was wondering why, like, what's the biblical, like, what's the reason why her mother won't let her do that? She said it has something to do with, like, prostitutes in the Bible. And I know my mom lets my sister get her nails done, like, paint it, like, I feel like if I go to heaven, will God say that because I painted my nails, I can't go in? Like, I kind of think like that.
Right.
And like, if I'm a very active person in the church, if I'm doing all the things that I should be doing as a Christian, but let's say I dye my hair, which my parents don't necessarily agree with, I get piercings or something like that, it may, like, to them, they don't see it as, it's a liberal thing in their eyes, and it's not something they see as like what a typical Christian should look like. But like, is that, like, I feel like that physical stuff that I'm doing should not have like any effect on the way I can praise God, the way I can pray to Him. Like, that is different. And like, so I feel like you can have some liberal, like, in a reasonable way, like do what you want, but in a way that doesn't affect your relationship with God, in a way that, like, there shouldn't be any, like, confusion with, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yes, madam.
I agree with what they're saying, because, like, I try to see it from my parents' point of views, like, the little things that they say I can or can't do. And, like, my parents always say that, like, our body is a temple, like, a temple
of God, yeah.
Yeah. So I understand, like, they don't want us to, like, destroy the temple or, like, do something that, like, won't be right in God's eyes. But, like, this is, like, I'm not gonna say it's because we're in the new places and that we should do whatever you want, but, like, I feel like if we, like, get, like, an extra piercing or so, or, like, a tattoo or something, like, we're not necessarily, like, destroying our relationship with God. Like, it shouldn't matter, like, what we wear, what we put on our body and this and that, like, how our relationship with God is, like, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna come back to that. I just want to hear what you guys have to say with all the liberal stuff about getting your ears pierced and well, like, I don't even call it liberal no more. I think it's a
Normal,
new age thing, where people are getting piercings and tattoos and stuff like that. Let me ask it this way: will you disassociate yourself from things like that if you understand the reasons? Because you mentioned something, you said that you don't know why getting a piercing should affect your relationship with God. If you understand the reason why it does so, will you be able to agree to dissociate yourself with it?
For sure, yeah.
So you think one of the problems that you guys are having is that you don't understand? Nobody's telling you the reasons why you shouldn't do some of these things?
They're just saying, don't do this, don't do that, but, like, they don't give, like, a straightforward reason why not. Like, they may say, like, oh, this and that, like, you're gonna mess up your body or something like that, but, like, they don't give a straightforward reason, like, from the Bible reason, basically, like, how it would affect our relationship with God. So,
Okay.
like, yeah.
I mean, I've gotten straight up reasons from the Bible, but the reasons, the lectures that they give from the Bible aren't directly against what they're saying they're supposed to be against.
Okay.
For example, the verse about the tattoos is saying, don't draw idols on yourself. Do not idolize people by getting tattoos. For example, do not tattoo someone's name on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't tattoo the Virgin Mary on yourself. Don't do the cross stuff. Like, don't idolize something. But, like, with that, I was like, okay, so if I'm going to get a tattoo, if I'm going to do something, I have it in mind. Like, don't idolize like people from earth. Like, don't put anything above God like on my body. That's what I understand. Like, I have one tattoo. It's a heart, a little heart, and it means something to me. It's something that I went through with God, that I got over with God, and I put it there as a symbol of that. So I feel like I'm not idolizing anything. I'm not going against what the Bible said, because that's what the Bible said.
Let's go.
All right, I want to invite you guys into the conversation. If you're watching on Facebook, you can leave a comment on the Facebook stream, and then we'll read your comment. If you're listening on the radio, you can text or call into the studio line 917-340-7744. Studio line again is 917-340-7744. You could, if you're calling from outside the country or outside of North America, you have to dial the code 001-917-340-7744. Now, if you're on Facebook again, you can leave a comment and we'll read your comments out. Candice Otudo says solid. Prince Kwaku gives a thumbs up. Somebody says, wait, where am I from again? Marguerite Lovestein, she says their time is different from ours. It is a new era, and parents have to understand that. Alright, so I'm invited to join into the conversation. Again, if you want to call in, you're calling live into the studio and talk to our guest. The number again is 917-340-7744. 917-340-7744. If you're watching on Facebook, the line is on your screen. Alright, so I'm going back to our guest, and I think it's been interesting so far. The things that we are bringing up. I'm writing a few things down and adding to my notes. I'm also learning as well. I wrote down here the liberal and conservative, because it looks like we have put morality and the way we live our lives into two categories. You are either liberal or conservative, if that makes any sense. And then we associate Christianity with being conservative. Don't you think, or I don't know what you guys think, but don't you think that Christianity should stand alone? We should stand alone as our own way of life, our own religion, because we all know that Christianity is a way of life. It's the way you live your life and your relationship with Christ. And so trying to tie Christianity into conservativeness, so to say, becomes a problem, because we are putting a square peg into a round hole, so to say. So we begin to push everything. And if you look at the things that we are going through now with all this LGBT movement, Black Lives Matter movement, everybody is trying to be either liberal or conservative. No matter what idea you are, you can be a conservative and be in the Black Lives Matter movement, or be, So what do you guys think about that? Having our faith and our religion to stand on its own by itself versus trying to push it into one of these spheres, which is liberalism or being conservative. You guys understand my question?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm just.
It has me thinking. That's why I'm like, well, that would be a goal. That would be a good thing. That would be something that I guess a lot of people would love, because they wouldn't have that judgment that's there. That's why a lot of people that I've heard, that I sometimes would invite to my church or something like that they wouldn't want to, because they would feel prejudged going there. I feel like Christianity should be a way of life, so everyone feels welcomed, and it's easier for them to learn about that Christian lifestyle, about God, about their building their relationship with God, about their getting their salvation. With that conservative mindset that a lot of our parents have, or a lot of the older generations have set on Christianity, I feel like it's kind of put a blockade up for new people to come in. They're like, oh, I don't want to go to that church because I like having my piercings, or I don't want to go to that church because I like wearing jeans. I don't want to wear a skirt every Sunday. It puts up that wall between people. They're like, I don't want to deal with Christianity, because that's how they see us. As soon as you say, oh, I'm Christian, they're like, oh, yeah, cool.
Long skirt and long scarf.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
I definitely agree with that. I've had friends that I've always wanted to invite to church, and it's like maybe the clothes they wear, like the ripped jeans thing. I know my mom does not like it at all, and it's like I would love to invite you to my church, but I feel discouraged already by my parents or by like just how I see my church. Like I know that when that person walks in, it's like, who is this person here, and why is she doing this, all this stuff, and I'm like I really don't want that to be the case. And like I know that Christianity is supposed to be a religion where we're loving and not judging it like at all. And like whenever I think of back to your original question, like going back to like having Christianity stand alone as its own thing, that it shouldn't be something we're pushing into conservative. I see a great example of this. Maverick City Music, some Christian group that I listen to, I think they're also at William McDowell's church. That church itself is a very like unorthodox church. So like I dress up to Sunday in my button down with tie, dress pants, everything. But every single person in that church, and I've seen the videos on YouTube, like they're all doing their own, like they have different hair, dyed, cut short, long, whatever. Their clothes is like whatever you want to wear, however you feel comfortable. You come to church like that, that's how you come. You have tattoos, nobody cares. You have piercings, nobody cares. That's you. It's your person, your life, and it's something new. The church is fairly like open recently, and I see that all of that stuff, all of them together, different races, different like all of it, like different identities, all in one place, in one room, and I see that nobody's judging another person, and they're all like, I can see the like their connection with God has not been like torn at all, that they're easily able to worship in the same way that our conservative church would do. So I'm like, why can't I have this? Like I always think about it, like it's beautiful seeing different people of different identities being able to worship together in the same way with the same emotion and passion. Is just like, do we really need to be as conservative as we are to be able to have that relationship with God? That's always what I'm thinking about.
Interesting. Interesting. Again, use the way we say it as it is, and we leave room for conversation and stuff like that. That's why I'm not preaching. We're having a conversation, so we can understand where you're coming from. Then we can take notes from it. I feel like, again, I have the same, problem with, the same passion as you guys. Trying to find the niche to bring both worlds together. I'll be happy if I could see all the young people in my church and doing things, but it looks like there's something that they have to overcome. Some, I don't know, what is a hurdle or something that you have to overcome to get there. So I think it's good we are bringing some of these things up. Senior Kwabena Nyama says, I think we are telling the young ones what they are not supposed to do. I think we are telling the young ones what they are not supposed to do, but not all. Okay, so I think we are telling the young ones what they are not supposed to do, but not the reasons behind it. I guess you guys agree with that as well. Esther says the volume on their mics. Okay, Esther, we'll check the mics for you. Thank you. Aunt Julie says your mom says what? Go you. This hi to you guys. So that's good. With the young people and church. So you think it's a problem where the church is losing numbers with the young people because of things like this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Definitely.
That's
Yeah.
one of the biggest problems, I would say.
You're good.
Yeah, because like if we keep pushing people away with how we think on specific things, that's just how it's gonna be. Like, it's just gonna be that set group of people, and you're gonna keep trying to bring more people in, but because of the way you think, you don't realize it. Like, you're not really bringing them in. Like, I don't know how to put it, but like, because of like certain judgments that some people may have in the church, people wouldn't want to come in because they don't want to feel judged in a space where they're supposed to be worshiping God and growing a stronger relationship with God. So they wouldn't want to come to your church if you're going to judge them just because of like how many piercings they have, or if they have tattoos, or if they wear ripped jeans and short skirts and stuff like that. So
Paula, you can say something, or Carol?
I was gonna say, I hear what everyone's saying. I just think like for every single issue or every single topic that there can be controversy, and like you were saying, liberal or conservative, we shouldn't think about am I a liberal or a conservative on this particular issue? I think we should think, what does the Bible say about this particular issue? No matter what it is, if it's the LGBT movement or the Black Lives Matter movement, like, as a Christian, how should I feel? And I think it's also horrible, like, that a lot of conservative churches might have a lot of judgmental, like, members, and maybe the wrong approach, because if you don't have love when you correct somebody, then it's worthless, pretty much. And but I think that there are, I might stand alone here, but, like, I think that there are certain things that, you know, are worth correcting and are worth talking about, having a conversation about, whether it be, because there are people that really believe tattoos and piercings, the Bible might be against this. You want to be safe than sorry, you know what I'm saying? And we shouldn't, like, push away also, just because our culture is very accepting of, like, certain things doesn't mean that we need to push away correction or, like, conversation about these things.
I think one thing, like the judgmental part is still very, like when you walk in and see somebody like with tattoos, it's something they've already done. Like, being able to not judge them and say, hey, like, this is how we can correct this. Like, if you do see it as an issue, like, this is how we can correct it, and, like, this is why you shouldn't this is why you shouldn't get more tattoos. This is why you shouldn't keep thinking that this is okay. It's already, like, if you think it's a sin that you've already committed. Something that you can't, I guess, tattoo removal, like, you can't undo it for the most part. So it's like we have to be able to change our mindset where, like, you see that this person has done something, don't look down upon them for already having done something. Teach them about why what they did was wrong, and encourage them to not make decisions like that in the future. I do think that is worth making, like, some of these things, some of these issues are worth correcting, that, like, and that it shouldn't be liberal conservative necessarily, but, like, do look at the Bible, see what this says, and stand upon it as a Christian.
Okay, so you guys are out there in the world. We can't just, you go to school, you go to church, but you go to school, you go out with your friends, you go to parties, you do whatever. You're out, literally out there in the world. You spend Sundays in the church for 2-3 hours, and the rest of your time is out, right? How do you guys present yourself out there? First of all, let's talk about you guys. How do you present yourself out there for you to stand out as a Christian, as a believer? And then how do you relate to people out there? You go out to meet people of the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ. Now there's more letters added to it. I don't even know the other letters. Yes. You meet people like that. You meet people, white extremists, or what do you call those people? Supremacists, yeah. White supremacists. You meet all these other people. How do you relate to them, and how do you let your Christianity show out? One problem that most people have, especially in college, is that they tell you that they go to college and they hide their belief as Christians. They don't tell anybody that they're Christians, or they don't even pray in on campus or somewhere. They just want to hide everything. They hide their Bibles under their pillows. They don't want nobody to see their Bibles in their dormitories and all these other things. How do you present yourself out there as believers to the world?
One way, like, you could present yourself as a believer in, like, the world is to, like, not hate anybody. Like, not just because a person is LGBTQ and you don't support that, don't go and hate them or, like, shame them or something just because they are with the person they are with. Or if someone has piercing or tattoo, don't go and hate them because of what they did to their body or something like that. Or, like, if they don't believe, don't go and hate them saying, oh, you're doing the wrong thing, you're not believing in God, so you're gonna go to hell, this and that. Like, don't look down on people because they don't support the things you support, or they don't go with what you go with. Like, try to like be respectful about it. Like, you know, don't hate somebody just because of what they do or how they're doing stuff the way you don't do it. Yeah, something.
I agree. Carl, you want to say something?
I was gonna say that, like, pretty much all my friends make fun of me, like, my close friends, you know what I'm saying? They don't get it. They don't get, like, my Christian, you know, my way of life. And I would say, like, the majority of my friends aren't Christian, but I would say the way that when I interact with them and they know that I don't drink, I'm 21, I don't go to, like, bars or clubs or anything like that, and I'm pretty open and I like talking about, you know, my religion, and they don't get it, but it sparks conversation when when you're close with people who aren't Christians, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's kind of like I do get made fun of a lot, and I don't take it personally, but you kind of do have to like kind of build a backbone, because you're gonna stand out. You're gonna be different from other people. You don't do a lot of the same things that other people do.
Right.
Especially at 21 years old. So.
Right.
Yeah, I've always just said God is love. So as a Christian, what better way to show that you are a Christian than with love? Like, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar.
Okay, I never heard that before.
I've heard that a couple times. Some
Okay.
people overthrow it and say it's the opposite, but what I mean by that is, you, with love, you like get to talk to more people. More people are like, oh, why are you this way? Why are you like that? And I'm like, oh, because this is my way of being. This is what I believe. This is what I stand for, and it's easier to represent it, I say, with love than with hate and with I don't do that because I'm a Christian and you're gonna go to hell and all this other stuff that people kind of throw out there. And I'm like, no, like, you want to bring in people to their salvation. You want to bring in people to your way of life. You don't want to like make them run away from you, like, oh, this person is crazy, I'm not gonna have nothing to do with that. Like, you know,
I want to say, like, the way that I present myself as a Christian, I would say that I don't do it enough where it's like you can easily spot, like, oh, this boy's Christian. But people know at my school, like, my school is a very the majority of the white students are Jewish, and then the majority of the Asian students are Muslim, or like there's a very little like a very small community of Christians there, and that was a big transition from middle school. But when I went there, I found like Christian friends, and whenever something does come down to like being like where I need somebody to speak to about like an issue, and like I will speak to them. But like people, like, there are people that know that I'm Christian, there are people that don't know, and it's like when they do know, I like how they spark conversation. It does spark conversation. Like, I will be able, they'll ask me like, oh, why do you do this as a Christian? And I've also received some hate. Actually, recently somebody said I use my religion as a false sense of like love and making everybody think that it was a very weird type of hate. How do you hate me for being Christian? How do you hate me for loving you? Whatever. But what I'm saying is that, like, the way I present myself as a Christian, I kind of do it in a way where it's like, I know that even though you're not Christian, I'm not necessarily, I don't do this thing where I know my parents are like trying to teach people about Christ in a way that like kind of converts them. I don't really do that. I will tell them why I believe what I believe, and why I do what I do, why this like is this way in our religion, but I don't necessarily do it in a way that's like, you should become Christian because of this. Like, I respect why they're like, they believe in whatever religion they believe in or whatever beliefs they do, but when they ask me why I do what I do, I present it in a way that's like nice.
All right. Let me see some of the comments that we're getting here on Facebook.
Let's go.
Rita Doe, thank you for joining us as well. He says, well said, son. Inshiraba Nanawusua says, I'm late. You're not too late. We still have about 15 minutes more. Somebody says love and forgiveness. Jada Forson says Christians are quick to judge, and that needs to stop. Scaring people away instead of accepting them for who they really are. Reverend Gabriel is watching, and Pastor is watching. So, you guys want to say hi to Pastor Carol? Pastor says hi to you. And Moses Dominguez, I hope I didn't butcher your name, says Christians shouldn't be the one to judge. The Bible does that itself. It's important that change does occur, as Jesus says, when we come to him, we become a new creature apart from the world and mundane desires. Domina says, well said. In as much as we should obey God's word, it is important to understand that the house of God is meant to be a place for everyone, saved or lost. everyone needs God, but we also need to share His love in ways that don't push others away, but draw them close. We can't judge others because they sin differently from us. Okay, lol.
That's so true.
Tiff, Brittany, I know your real name, doesn't mention your real name. Brittany says, Brittany's watching with us. Pastor Lawrence, our guy, is watching with us as well. Ishiraba Nanawuswa, it's true. Respect DS as well. And Reverend TJ Erickson is watching as well. Okay, so before we go, we have about 15 minutes maybe, let's say, give or take. I know you guys will want to talk about and Elikem, you started mentioning it earlier. Eugene, sorry,
Same thing.
You started mentioning it earlier about hate and people acting differently towards you because you're Christians and and because of your faith and stuff like that. Is that really happening out there in college and high school today, in today's world?
I will say, I think.
I mean, if you guys want to share your experiences in that.
That was a first. Like, I've never ever had someone tell me that I use my religion as a false sense of like love. I think it was just I'm too popular at my school, so they like you. I guess I post some like a gospel song. I used to do this gospel song every day on my Instagram story because it's like something that I like. I like gospel music, and I put it on my story, and I think that's where the person got it from. But I don't see it too often where it's like I get like, oh, he's Christian. Like, it's more like, I respect your religion.
Yeah, that's what I've gotten a lot more often as well. Like, little growing up, I used to be embarrassed to say like, oh yeah, I'm Christian. I go to church 3 times a week. But as I got older, like, I kind of noticed, like, I would say, yeah, I go to church, I'm Christian, and people wouldn't be like, ew, like, get away from me. They would be like, oh, that's cool, like, why do you do this? And what about the types of songs you listen to? Like, I've been able to draw more people in with the little changes that we've been doing through generations. Because at first, at my church, I would say, like, we weren't able to listen to rap songs, like Christian rap songs, or like songs that were a little bit more like had more movement in them,
right,
like more youthfulness in them. And they're like, oh, you have that type of music, like, that's so cool. Like, I've been able to draw more people in like that. Like, I haven't really gotten bullied for my beliefs.
Right.
Like, I haven't really received like hatred from being Christian, because then at school I surround myself with like, I have a lot of Christian friends, but then I also have like Muslim friends and stuff like that. So like, when I like talk with them about like my religion, I don't like say stuff like that'll make them feel offended because they're not Christians or whatever. Like, I speak about my religion, and I speak about like how I go to church, how I do this, how I do that, and I also listen to like their side of like why they are like Muslim or something, or like why they don't go to church or stuff like that. I don't like start, you know, being like, oh, you should be Christian because being Christian is good, being Christian is like the most important way of life, stuff like that. Like, so I don't really receive much hate, I would say, because like now, like the way I surround myself in school, like I surround myself with like my Christian friends, stuff like that. So like it's easier for me to talk about like my relationship with God, or like how I'm trying to increase my faith and stuff like that. So it'll be easier.
All right. I know our time is almost gone. I just want to talk to most of you are in school. You're doing college, and then high school senior and all that. Christianity and science. What do you guys think about Christianity and science? It's like two ends of the pole.
Oh gosh.
You cannot be a solid Christian. And I'm doing a book, and one of my topics is that it's about Christianity and science. I want to hear what you guys think about it, since you guys are in school. Our Christian faith results. Let me give you an example so we can have a quick conversation. How old is the Earth?
So it's like
billion years.
Oh.
Doesn't the Bible say that it's like 5,000 around there?
Yeah.
The Bible says how old?
Yeah, but the Bible also says that the way we measure time isn't the way that God
Right.
measures time.
Right. So it's just something that is out there in the world, and it's one of my it's a question that I received, and that's the reason why I was started writing about it. The Bible estimates about 5,000 or so years back to the beginning, which is the Genesis, the creation in the day one, and the scientists are equating about 6 billion,
Billion, 7 billion, something like that.
almost at that age. So how do you equate the two? Now,
Oh, I don't know.
there's science people out there in the science community who can take a tree, like you go outside right now and cut a tree, and then the rings of the tree stem can tell you how old the tree is, right?
Yeah.
And you're finding trees in the world that are 2 million years ago, 2 million years old, and 3 million years old trees still alive today. So how do you equate the concept of creation in Genesis 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, to a 2 billion year old tree? Was the tree there before creation started? I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So these are questions that you throw. So how do you reconcile? You guys are in school. You guys are the students now. How are you reconciling some of these things out there? It looks like once you're a believer, you have to throw science out of the deal. Or once you're a scientist, or you want to study astrophysics, or you want to study botany or biology or something, you have to throw Christianity out of the field. How do you guys reconcile that? High school and college students.
I wish my friend was here. She's like she's like very strict with her Christianity and her religion, her way of life, but she loves her science. And she would say God created science. God gave us the knowledge.
Right.
God put it how do I say this? Like, let's say vaccines, for example,
Right.
like, and medicines and stuff like that. Like, if we didn't have that, a lot of people would
Right.
be sick, dying, and stuff like that. So, in a way, like, yeah, like, I feel like God put the knowledge into people. God made it so that we were able to make those advances and make
Right.
those discoveries.
Right.
And we just, as Christians, we just have to know to go about it with faith. Like, we can't just go blindly into it. Like,
Right.
we can't just believe whatever people tell us.
I always like think to myself, because I'm always thinking, like, how can God and science, like, it doesn't work at the same time, but they both seem like they should be the right answer. So I'm like, maybe God created science, like, or like the way God created everything came with like a science where we can, like, it's still true. Like I think about the way God created Adam out of the dust. That dust could have been created with atoms, like the what they teach us in chemistry, like all that
Right.
stuff. God could have done that. He didn't. It wasn't specific, but you don't know if it's like true. And I also think that science isn't always correct. Like, God works in mysterious ways, and I don't think it's a way that like science can understand everything on this earth. Science is definitely not going to be able to tell you everything on this earth. There's stuff that like we will try to understand and think that we're correct, and then you'll get to heaven and God will show you like, wow, like that you were wrong, and like this
Right.
is the way. Like it's not something you can, like, you're not supposed to be able to wrap your mind around the things that God does. So if we think that we're right and we're wrong in the future, I mean, what can you say? Like, I don't think that science is the explanation for everything, but we might think that we have gotten there. But there are times that we've thought we've proven stuff, and science is like re-evaluated whatever, and
Right.
come to find out that they were wrong before. We can be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it can look that we're right, but it can really be wrong.
Facts.
And so I don't always think that, like, I don't know, I feel like God might have put science there as like a dummy, like, haha, you think you're correct, and then God is like, no.
God has a reason for everything. So like God has a reason to like give humans the knowledge of science. Like if God didn't want people to like start saying, oh, science did this, science did that, there's no God, this and that, God wouldn't have put science on the earth. Like God wouldn't have given people the knowledge of science. So I feel like God did this for a reason. Like whenever I'm in my science class, like, and my teachers try to tell me that there's no God or something, or that God didn't do this, it was science that did it. I just look at, I look at them and laugh, because I'm like, I believe one thing, and you're trying to tell me that what I believe is wrong. But what I believe is basically, like, God wouldn't put me in, he's probably, like, trying to, like, I don't know, test our faith in some type of way. Because, like, you know, I'm just saying God has a reason for everything. It's like he wouldn't go tell humans that science did this and for them to like, you know, yeah.
Come back at him, right? You guys have anything about this whole science thing, Carol?
I was gonna say, I was just thinking like most things in science are theories, you know what I'm saying? And I agree with what Paula said about you can put your, like, when you believe like the theory of evolution and stuff like that, you're putting your faith in man, you know, in science, things that are proven wrong on a daily basis, and like you get new evidence on a daily basis. Is always changing. Or you could just choose to put your faith in God. And I think we also don't have to have all the answers to
Right.
to you know, just trust God with whatever he did, you know?
All right.
Everybody get your feet
We're
happy.
going
Let's go.
very soon. Our time is all of a sudden. Our time is already gone. We try to bring you guys back again to do a better session. I think we have to talk more about this science thing and all that, and you
I'll
know,
bring my friend.
yeah, get you guys to come and do all this stuff anyway. But before we go, you want to give us your last words? Speak to your youth out there. 1 minute each, 2 minutes each, and then we can get out of here, right? In Shirobana Nawuswa says, respect is true, respect yes too. Dennis Bones, thank you for watching. Jada says, especially at our workplaces, people intentionally get under our skin to see our reactions.
I trust. Say it. Show me how to do it, y'all.
Aunt Linda, thank you for watching.
I believe. Say it. Say it.
I believe.
Your Sunday school teacher is watching with you guys.
I trust.
Come on.
Alright, so before we go, now I'm going to start from the right side, right?
Yes. Okay.
And then you guys can tell us, just, hey, your greetings to your people. Say, I don't know if you want to have a special word for your people. You want to preach for 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm ready.
Whatever you guys want to do. So yeah, Paula.
Just to set it off, remember your salvation is your salvation. You know in your spirit and in your heart what's right and what's wrong. And everybody has a process. Everybody has a process to kill off that skin and to become more spiritual and more one with God. You know, no one's perfect. So take it day by day. God is love.
Okay, thank you, Paula. Carol.
Okay, so I just want to say I'm nobody to be giving advice, but if I had to, I would say that we live in a culture right now where everything is accepted and everything is like abortion, the LGBT, whatever, violence, it's all like amplified and accepted on social media. But I think if you're a Christian, like stay rooted to the Bible and try to, you have to be different than the world, and it's a struggle, it is for me, but we got to remember our identity, especially as like youth, you know what I'm saying? It can be too easy to get sucked into the world, but remember your identity in Jesus. That's it.
Okay, Eugene.
If I think one thing that I would like to share with the viewers, that like I love to like think about is that just God works in mysterious ways. Like it's not everything you'll be able to wrap your mind around, and sometimes when I can't understand like why something happened, why this happened, I say God works in mysterious ways, and I say it out loud because I need to know that it's true, that like you're not going to be able to understand everything, that you know sometimes science won't explain it, your parents won't explain it, like it just, things will happen and you'll be like this is why God did it. You don't know why. This is God's doing, and you won't know why. So you say God works in mysterious ways.
LCD.
Yeah, God has a reason for everything, and honestly, as youth of today, I feel like we should just all like, you know, keep trusting in God, keep trying to grow our faith, and just like don't try to fit in with like your friends and stuff like that. Like if they're doing something bad, don't try and go and do the same thing just because you want to be like them and stuff like that. You were born to stand out. You were born to be yourself. So I would just say to the youth of today, like, stand out, be yourself, trust in God, know who you are and where you stand in your relationship with God, and know what you believe. Like, so, you know, just know. That's it.
Alright, we'll be getting to you guys very soon. Thank you all for watching. Ishiraban, and also thank you. Nath says good job. Babies says thank you. But thank you as well, Auntie Julie. God bless you guys. Great contributions. Thumbs up. I see a lot of hearts also going. I just want to leave you guys with this. And you guys have been talking about this whole thing, and I'm excited. You guys are voicing out. At least now we have a platform, or we have a place or a role where we can, talk about some of these things and share ideas and share our thoughts and our contributions and our aspirations. Few years back, young people didn't have the platform, they didn't have the voice. That's one of the reasons why we brought up Youth Awaken and things like this, so that we can have at least a place to say some of these things. And I'm sure people watching are listening, they're hearing what we are saying, and it's gonna, based on something you said or something you said, it's gonna affect somebody in a positive way, right? But for the young people, I still think that one thing that we are having challenges with this, are young people finding God, or if I should say, finding faith and finding the source of their faith for themselves. It looks like most of our young ones want to fit in somewhere. So I want to be conservative. I want to be a liberal. I don't think there's a problem with having a tattoo. I don't think there's a problem with having what do you call it? Piercings. I don't think there's a problem with wearing what do you call the thing you put on like anklet or something like that. Because I'm looking for validation. I want somebody to tell me that it's good or it's not good. I want people to validate what I'm doing. But when you come to a point where you have a relationship with God for yourself, it is you and God. It's you and then your faith. And so your faith, the faith itself tells you what is good and what is not good. That's why Paul says that learn by the Holy Spirit. Because if you are with him and quote unquote you wear an anklet and he's fine with it and he's still talking to you and he's still communicating with you, then you know for yourself that okay, I'm good. Right? I don't need the validation of a pastor. I don't need the validation of a youth leader. I don't need the validation of somebody on the street. I don't need the validation of a friend, because I have that relationship within myself. And that is what we are missing. Most of us are missing the point. We are trying to look for validation from the church. We're trying to look for validation from our friends. And so you look at I wish I was in my friend's church. My friend's church always, they wear jeans or they wear skirts. And I wish I could join that church. Or I don't like this family because my family is too conservative. I want my friend's family. But if I know God for myself, I have him with me and have the Holy Spirit working with me for myself, even at a young age. David was 12 years old when he started having encounters with the Holy Spirit. So growing up, it creates a path for you. It cuts a path for you that you can follow, because you are not scared of what people are saying. You're not shaken by what people are saying. If, for example, this is just hypothetically, God speaks to me every morning, literally comes to my room and speaks to me every morning, hypothetically, do you think I'm going to be upset when I go outside and somebody says, why are you wearing a skirt? No, because God speaks to me every morning. He didn't care that I was wearing a skirt when he came to my room this morning. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. Yes. And so, I don't need the validation of anybody else, because I have the validation of God. And so when I know it for myself and understand it for myself, it changes the atmosphere, it changes the ball game altogether. That's why I don't care if I'm a pastor, but I go out to preach, I wear t-shirts, I wear my shorts, I wear my jeans. I want to work with the youth because I need validation for myself, not from anybody else. And somebody says, oh, you're a pastor, I don't have to put on a suit and a tie. No. But once you get to know that connection with the Holy Spirit, you get to know the connection with God for yourself, it changes the atmosphere. You don't need your parents to come and tell you what to do or what to move at a particular point in time, because you have the validation for yourself. And so, as young people, as you're going, I leave that with you. Think about it. Once I have that connection with God, and I know that I have, when you experience God, you are different, you change. And so you don't need somebody coming and tell you, stop, or if you have a tattoo, don't get a new tattoo, or don't do some of these trivia, don't go to a party, don't drink. Because my relationship with God tells me not to do so anyways. Right? Mm-hmm. So then once you're in good standing, it changes the dynamics of how things happen. Anyways, I believe that this thing we've been a blessing to you guys who are watching. Thank you. If you're watching on Facebook, thank you. Way to go, my youth. God bless you, my children. Mama says thank you guys. Or Juliana says God help us and make a way where there seems to be no way. Juliana again says, Holy Spirit teaches. Ishiraba says, it's true. Have a relationship with Him, with God for yourself. Have an encounter with Him as well. Alright. So we're leaving. And we'll see you guys. When are you guys coming back? Let me know before you go. When are you guys coming back? Tell me. So I'll write the dates down.
When are we invited?
Yeah, whenever.
You gotta be invited again, don't worry. We'll do another youth time again, then we can bring new topics. I'm gonna keep my same panelists because you guys did so good. I'm so proud of you guys. Those so first time on the radio, first time on air, you guys did good. I give you like 65 or something.
Wow.
Nah, better than you. But yeah, so I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Don't worry about it. And then thank you. Let's count this. My last comment I'm reading before I leave. It says, Amen. I didn't have a voice when I was a youth. So God bless the youth leaders of now who are teaching the youth about the things of God and blessing the youth with platforms to share their views and ideas. Thank you as well, Auntie Candice, and God bless you. Alright, so far so good. We're leaving you now and we'll see you next Monday, same time, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. My name again, Pastor Ref. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye to my sorrow. Hey, goodbye to my pain, y'all. Goodbye to my trouble. Goodbye to my trouble. Goodbye, dear. You ain't welcome here. Goodbye, dear. You ain't welcome here. Hey, so long. Yeah, so long. Yeah, so long. Hey, so long. Come on, say it. So long. I can hear you say. I can hear you say. I can hear you say. Goodbye to my trouble. Goodbye to my pain, y'all. Goodbye, y'all. Everybody raise it up. You are the God of miracles, say it. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of wonders. You are the God of wonders. You are the God of power. You are the God of power. Say it. I believe. I believe. I believe. Say it. Say I believe. I believe. I believe. Say it. I believe. Say it, y'all. I believe. I believe. So long. Hey, so long. Yeah, so long. Goodbye to my trouble. Goodbye to